we are all devastated to see the horrific images coming from Ukraine. Vladimir Putin's invasion has turned into an indiscriminate massacre of civilians, open shelling of civilian areas in built-up cities, targeting schools, apartment buildings, and apparently last night even a nuclear power generation plant. These are crimes against humanity. These are deplorable war crimes. And I want once again to reiterate how strongly the government and people of Alberta stand in solidarity with Ukraine. Since the eve of Putin's invasion of Ukraine, we have tried to provide as much support and expressions of solidarity as possible. In Alberta announced $1 million in support for humanitarian relief through the Canada-Ukraine Foundation on the eve of the invasion. The legislature passed a unanimous motion expressing Alberta's solidarity with the people of Ukraine. Alberta Gaming and Liquor Commission has removed all Russian-made products available for resale and has ceased any orders of Russian products. The Alberta Investment Management Corporation is rapidly divesting of its modest holdings in Russian funds and assets. I have instructed the Minister of Labour and Immigration to accelerate as quickly as possible any Ukrainian nationals who have applications for permanent residency through the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program, formerly the Alberta Immigration Nominee Program. And today I'm announcing additional support for Ukraine. The context, of course, is that provincial governments do not have international development programs, but we feel so strongly, in part, I think, because the deep historical and human connection between Alberta and Ukraine. We owe so much to Ukraine and the Ukrainian people, and we are so devastated to see acts of aggression which are reminiscent of the terror unleashed in Europe between 1938 and 1945. In fact, just 2 days ago, Russian artillery shelled part of the Babin Yar memorial in Kiev, a site that I have visited on more than one occasion, a place where some 30,000 Ukrainian Jews were massacred by the Nazis over 2 days in 1941. And yet, even that sacred place has now been attacked by Vladimir Putin. And that is why today I'm announcing that the Government of Alberta will provide an additional $5 million in monetary support to the Canada-Ukraine Foundation to provide urgent humanitarian aid. We will also provide $5 million of funding to the World Ukrainian Congress's Unite with Ukraine campaign to provide desperately needed defensive military equipment for the Ukrainian territorial defense forces. These are largely civilians who are being trained and equipped to assist the Ukrainian army in defending their country and innocent civilians. This $5 million contribution will help to equip 5,000 members of the Ukrainian Territorial Defense Force with critical defensive equipment, including flak jackets, helmets, bulletproof vests, first aid kits, night vision goggles, communications equipment, and essential fuel. These are both reputable organizations with stringent measures in place to ensure the responsible and prompt delivery of the equipment. Finally, we'll be providing $350,000 in monetary support to the Ukrainian Canadian Congress Alberta Provincial Council for their Alberta Stands with Ukraine campaign to help coordinate supportive efforts here in Alberta. And we are working with them actively to support their Fill a Plane for Ukraine campaign. In fact, I believe we've helped them to secure air cargo transport for the first aid and defensive equipment that they are assembling here in Alberta urgently to ship that to Poland and then into Ukraine. Ultimately, these are, in the scale of things, relatively modest measures, but I think demonstrate in a very meaningful way the solidarity of the people of Alberta with Ukraine.